Hello students, come on, welcome you back to the classes of corporate accounting. In the previous video we have started the new topic, accounts of banking companies. So we have discussed the meaning of the term banking, definition of the term banking given by Banking Regulation Act. In India, all the banks are governed by Banking Regulation Act 1949, and the definition of banking was given by our Banking Regulation Act. Accepting for the purpose of lending or investment of deposits of money from the public, repayable on demand or otherwise, withdrawable by check, draft, order or otherwise. This is the definition for banking given by Banking Regulation Act. And we have discussed about what are the statutory books to be maintained by the bank. Then we have discussed about the slip system of ledger posting. So there's a peculiar method of recording the transactions by the bank of their customers. Normally that transaction will be recorded in journal entry, later on it will be posted to ledger account, but this method will not be followed by bank. In bank slip system means the entry will be made directly in the customer's account on the basis of slips. To keep all the customers' accounts up to date. That's the main purpose of slip system of ledger posting. The slips are the paying slips and the checks on the basis of which directly entry will be made in the customer's accounts to keep all the accounts up to date. That is called slip system of ledger posting, but that we have discussed. Next, financial statement. The final accounts of banks. So the new format, the revised format has been given by RBI, and according to this format, the profit and loss account and balance sheet will be in scheduled form. Schedules are there. So in the previous video, I have explained you the details of what are the schedules in balance sheet and profit and loss account. Just we'll recap, then we'll continue. In balance sheet, totally 12 schedules are there. First 5 schedules will be on liability side. The first schedule, capital. Second, reserves and surplus. Third, deposit. Fourth, borrowing. Fifth, other liabilities and provisions. These 5 are on the liability side. Take the total of the liabilities. Below that, we'll write on the assets. The first asset, cash and balances with RBI. And cash in hand and balances with RBI. Then this is schedule number 6. 7th schedule, balances with other banks and money at call and short notice. 7th schedule. 8th schedule, investments. 9th schedule, advances. 10th schedule, fixed assets. 11th schedule, other assets. That's all. Take the total. The total of the assets. The first 5 schedule, total of the liabilities. Then 6th to 11th, the total of assets. Now below the balance sheet, at the foot of the balance sheet, 2 items will be taken. Contingent liability, schedule number 12. And provisions. Bills for collection. These 2 items will be shown in the foot of the balance sheet, below the total of the assets. So this is the complete format of balance sheet. Then we have discussed about profit and loss account. The profit and loss account will be divided into 4 parts. The first part is income. Under income, 2 schedules. That is interest earned, schedule number 13. Then other income, schedule number 14. So 13 and 14, these 2 total will be the total of income. Then below that, expenditure, second part. Under expenditure, 3 items we will take. The first item, interest expended, that is schedule number 15. Then operating expenses, schedule number 16. Then next one is provisions and contingencies, no schedule. Then total of these 3 will be called the total of expenditure. Now first part, income. Second part, expenditure. Third part, profit or loss. In this profit and loss, we take net profit earned during the year. That means income minus expenditure. First part में income आ गया, second part में expenditure आ गया. So income minus expenditure will get net profit for the current year. And profit brought forward. If in the problem profit brought forward is given coming from the last year, that profit will add up. We'll get the total profit. 3 parts. 4th part will be appropriations. Appropriations का मतलब division of profit. तो अंडर appropriations, first item transfer to statutory reserve. We'll discuss more about statutory reserve. Second one, transfer to other reserves if it is given in the problem. Then third one is proposed dividend. Then balance carried over to balance sheet. That's it. So this is called profit and loss account. In the previous video, I have explained all the schedules from first schedule to 16th schedule. What are the items that may come? So if you have not watched that previous video, go to that video and watch that video completely so that you can be able to understand the complete final accounts of a banking company. Now, some terms are used in banking final accounts, banking companies' final accounts, and those terms will have some technical meaning. So before solving the problem, a student must be acquainted, must be thorough with the meaning of those terms. Now in this video, I am going to explain you the terms which are used in the financial statements of banking companies. Now, first we'll discuss about terms used in final accounts of banking companies. First, provisions and contingencies. This item, provisions and contingencies, will come under expenditure of profit and loss account. प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट जब बनाएंगे तो एक्सपेंडिचर में 3 आइटम्स है. द फर्स्ट आइटम शेड्यूल नंबर 15 इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंडेड. सेकेंड आइटम 16th शेड्यूल ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंसेस. थर्ड आइटम इज प्रोविजंस एंड कंटिंजेंसीज. इट डजंट हैव एनी शेड्यूल. इट विल नॉट बी डिस्क्लोज्ड. इट विल बी शोन इन वर्किंग नोट्स. तो वर्किंग नोट्स में शेड्यूल के बाद वर्किंग नोट्स में इसका टोटल लेंगे. दिस विल नॉट बी नोन टू द पब्लिक. It is a hidden item. That means this is a secret item which will be known only to the bank management and auditors and government. But the general public will not know what are the details of these provisions and contingencies. So what are the items that may come that will be taken in provisions and contingencies? Provision for bad debts, provision for taxation, diminution in the value of investments, transfer to any contingencies, etc. or similar items. So again I repeat, what are the items that will come under provisions and contingencies? First, provision for doubtful debts. देखिए, bad debts and provision for doubtful debts will not be known to the public of a bank. बैंक के जो bad debts रहती हैं और provision for doubtful debts रहती है, public को बताने का item नहीं है ये. The public's confidence will be lost in the bank if it is shown. So it will be known only to the auditors, management and government. That's it. To RBI. So provisions and contingencies, the items will be taken are bad debts, provision for doubtful debts, diminution in the value of investments or transfer to any contingencies, etc. or similar items. So this item should be shown only in working notes and the total of that provisions and contingency will be taken in the profit and loss account. Second item, money at call and short notice. This money at call and short notice you will find in balance sheet under assets. Schedule number 7. Schedule number 7, balances with banks, other banks, money at call and short notice. So what do you mean by money at call? When one bank advances the loan to bill broker or stock broker or other banks for one day. Sometimes a bank will have excess cash, but this excess cash will not be there for a long period of time. They will utilize this money by giving this extra money, surplus money to another bank only for one day. If the loan is provided by one bank to another bank or bill broker or stock broker only for one day, it is called money at call. Suppose if the loan is given for a short period, short notice for a maximum of 3 days, then it will be called money at short notice. तो एक दिन के लिए अगर एक बैंक दूसरे बैंक को लोन दे रहा है सिर्फ एक ही दिन के लिए तो उसको मनी एट कॉल कहते हैं. अगर शॉर्ट नोटिस के लिए 3 दिन के पीरियड के लिए लोन दे रहा विद इन 3 days दे हैव टू रीपे इट बैक, इट इज कॉल्ड मनी एट शॉर्ट नोटिस. सो इट इज एन एसेट बिकॉज इट्स अ लोन गिवन बाय वन बैंक टू अनदर बैंक. सो इट विल बी टेकन ऑन एसेट साइड. शेड्यूल नंबर 7. Advances, loans, cash credits and overdrafts and bills discounted and purchased. Asset side, the biggest asset is advance. बैंक में सब में बड़ा asset जो होता है वो advances रहता है. Advances will be for advances का मतलब ये होता है the bank has given the loans to the customers. The main job of the bank is accepting the deposits and lending the loan or investment. Just now we have seen the definition. Definition of banking: accepting the deposits and lending the loans or investment. तो मेन जॉब बैंक का डिपॉजिट्स एक्सेप्ट करना, फिर लोन देना. तो जो लोन्स दे रहे हैं उसको कहते हैं एडवांसेस. तो एडवांसेस विल कम इन शेड्यूल नंबर 9. Now advances should be classified into loans, cash credits and overdraft. Now there is a technical difference in the meanings of loans, cash credits and overdrafts. Suppose if the loan is given lump sum amount. If the customer comes to the bank and wants a loan of 5 lakh rupees, the banker has agreed to give 5 lakh rupees loan immediately. The customer can withdraw 5 lakh rupees loan from the bank immediately at the counter. Immediately. So this is the loan. Lump sum amount advanced to a customer or given a loan to a customer outright. Then it is called a loan. The rate of interest on loan normally will be lower rate. The rate of interest will be lower on loan. Cash credit. In case of cash credit, the banker will open an account in the name of the customer and put the limit on withdrawal of the loan. Loan will not be taken in lump sum. For example, a customer, Mr. X, comes to the bank. He wants a cash credit of 5 lakh rupees. The banker has approved the loan, given the loan. Now, in case of loan, directly 5 lakh rupees the customer can withdraw. But in case of cash credit, the banker will, put a limit of 5 lakh rupees in his account. And he can withdraw whenever he requires the money. अब कस्टमर को जब जब पैसे की जरूरत पड़ेगी अपने लोन में से वो पैसे निकालते रहेगा. लिमिट 5 लाख तक है. नाउ इंटरेस्ट विल बी चार्ज्ड ओनली ऑन द अमाउंट withdrawn by the customer. Example, Mr. X, he has taken a cash credit limit up to 5 lakh, but he has withdrawn the money only for 2 lakh rupees till the end of the year. Then interest will be charged not on 5 lakh, only on 2 lakh. The rate of interest charged by the bank will be normally higher than the rate of loan. लोन के ऊपर जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट लगता है उससे ज्यादा रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट लगता है नॉर्मली फॉर कैश क्रेडिट. थर्ड, ओवरड्राफ्ट facility will be given by the banker only to those customers who are having current account. If a customer is having a current account in the bank, the banker will provide a limit of overdraft to that person. So he can overdraw from his account up to a certain limit. The interest will be charged on the amount overdrawn from his account. So normally again the rate of interest will be higher than the rate of interest on loan. लोन के ऊपर जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट उससे ज्यादा रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ओवरड्राफ्ट के ऊपर रहेगा. Similarly, bills discounted and purchased. Some customers will sell the bill to the bank. A customer is having a bill which will mature after 3 months. The value of the bill is 5 lakh rupees. The customer wants immediate cash. The banker will purchase the bill, and after deducting the discount, remaining amount will be paid to the customer. Now the banker has purchased the bill. The banker will wait for 3 months. After 3 months, the banker will approach the acceptor of the bill, and the banker will collect the amount. This is another form of advancing the money. तो जैसा लोन दे रहा है उसी तरह बिल के ऊपर भी बिल परचेस करके immediately amount will be paid to the customer, and the owner of the bill is the bank. So all the three, loans, cash credit and overdraft and bills purchase, will be taken under advances. Now according to the format, the advances should be classified as secured, unsecured, then guaranteed by the government. All these classification we have to do in schedules. Then branch adjustments. It is also called inter-office adjustment. इसके दो नाम हैं. We can call it as branch adjustment or we can call it as inter-office adjustment. There are many transactions which are conducted between the head office and branch, or between one branch with another branch. So many transactions are there. At the time of closing the accounts of the bank, some transactions remains unadjusted. एक बैंक से दूसरे बैंक के बीच में जो transactions हो रहे हैं, वो transaction complete नहीं हुआ. Still it is incomplete. The transaction is not complete at the time of closing the books of account. तो these transactions which are incomplete in one bank, it may show a debit balance or it may show a credit balance. तो वो unadjusted amount जो रहता है वो कभी डेबिट बैलेंस भी बता सकता है, कभी क्रेडिट बैलेंस बता. तो whenever branch adjustment is given, we have to see whether it is having a debit balance or a credit balance. अगर वो branch adjustment debit balance अगर बता रहा तो that should be taken under other assets, schedule number 11. Asset side, schedule number 11, other assets are there. In that other assets will take branch adjustment debit balance. अगर प्रॉब्लम में branch adjustment credit balance अगर दिया तो we have to take that branch adjustment in schedule number 5, other liabilities and provisions. schedule number 5 में लेंगे. डेबिट रहा तो 11, क्रेडिट बैलेंस रहा तो 5. That is branch adjustment, and also it is called inter-office adjustments. Now these topics, whatever I am explaining, this may be asked in your examination in theory question. In theory question, they may ask you, what do you mean by money at call and short notice, or what do you mean by advances, or what do you mean by branch adjustment or inter-office adjustment. So whatever I have explained, that you can write. Now non-banking asset. See, a bank is prohibited in dealing of goods. In dealing of goods means a bank cannot purchase the goods and sell the goods. The bank will deal only in money. The goods they cannot purchase, they cannot sell. But sometimes the banker will advance the loan on the security of some goods. A banker has extended the loan on the security of goods. Suppose if the customer fails to repay the loan, the banker is the owner of the goods. That goods will be sold by the bank and realize their money, realize their advance. So these are called non-banking assets, which are taken over in satisfaction of the claim. एक कस्टमर लाकर कुछ गोल्ड रखा दिया या कोई भी एसेट रखा दिया, कोई गुड्स रखा दिया, स्टॉक रखाया, स्टॉक बेसिस के ऊपर he has taken the loan, but he has not repaid the loan. The banker is having the charge on the stock. The bank is having a charge on the stock. The banker will sell the stock and realize the amount to settle the claim of the customer, borrower. These are called non-banking assets. So in the problem, if non-banking assets are given, it should be taken in schedule number 11, that is other assets. Now acceptance, endorsements and other obligations. In case of foreign trade, the seller is not sure, the seller will not deliver the goods until unless he is sure of receiving the payment. Example, the seller is in America and the buyer is in India. The buyer wants to buy the goods from the seller, but the seller is hesitant. Seller says, I'm not sure if I deliver the goods, is there any surety, guarantee that I will get the amount, get the payment from you? So the seller will not deliver the goods. The seller wants some guarantee. The seller does not have any the creditworthiness of the borrower, they cannot believe. They cannot, depend on the word of the mouth. In that case, one of the reputed person, credit-worthy person should come in between this foreign trade. I am the buyer and Mr. X is the seller in America and he wants to deliver the goods but he is not sure about my creditworthiness. मैं भिजाऊंगा पैसे नहीं भिजाऊंगा नहीं मालूम. So he wants some guarantee. So here I have to search a person who is having good creditworthiness. So here the person who is having good creditworthiness is banks. Banks should give the guarantee. So in that case, bank will come in between us, between the buyer and the seller. And the banker will give the guarantee. He will tell to the seller that supply the goods. If the buyer has not paid, I will pay the amount. So secondary liabilities of the bank. In this case, the banker will take three different positions. The first position is acceptance. The banker will accept the bill which is drawn by the seller on the buyer. So on behalf of buyer, the banker will accept the bill. अब मैं हूँ, I am the buyer. मैं banker को approach हुआ होकर बताया कि भाई that seller is drawing a bill. Please accept my bill and I will repay the amount if the amount is not paid. That means acceptance of bill का मतलब ये हो गया कि एक्सेप्ट बैंकर कर रहा है ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द बायर एंड सेंडिंग दैट एक्सेप्टेंस टू द सेलर. This is one case. Second case, endorsements. If a promissory note is made by the buyer, the banker will endorse that promissory note and send this promissory note to the seller. Promissory note बना रहा कौन? Buyer बना रहा, उसके ऊपर endorsement कर रहा बैंक, and this promissory note is sent to the seller. The seller will be sure that if this person has not paid the amount, I will repay it. Last one is other obligations. In this case, the guarantee will be given by the banker. The banker will give a guarantee letter to the seller that if this buyer has not paid the amount, I will pay the amount. So in these three cases, the primary responsibility is of the buyer. The secondary responsibility is of the banker. अगर buyer नहीं पे करा तो banker की liability होगी. अगर buyer पे कर दिया तो there is no liability of the banker. But the banker will, give this service only on the basis of commission. The banker will give the guarantee only on the basis of some security, on some commission. On that basis, the banker will give the guarantee, right? तो secondary liability, ये liability हो भी सकती है, नहीं भी सकती. अगर buyer payment कर दिया तो कोई liability नहीं होगी. अगर buyer नहीं pay करा तो it will become the liability of the banker. So it is called contingent liability. So this acceptance, endorsement, other obligation will be taken under contingent liability. Schedule number 12. Bills for collection. Some sellers will draw the bill on the buyer. The buyer will accept the bill and send the bill back to the seller. Now the seller is having so many bills on hand. What the seller will do? The seller will give all these bills to the banker for collection. As the maturity approaches, the banker will collect the amount of the bill and put the amount in the account of the customer. सेलर, सपोज मैं सेलर हूं, बहुत सारे पार्टीज को मैं गुड्स क्रेडिट पे बेचा हूं. I have drawn bills of exchange on them. They have accepted the bill and returned the bill to me. So I'm having so many bills, I don't have the time to see what is the maturity of each bill and present the bill on payment on maturity. So I've given my job to the banker. The banker will collect. So as on the closing date, there are some bills which are not yet collected. The bills which are not yet collected will be shown under bills for collection at the foot of the balance sheet, below the assets. Then statutory reserve. According to the provisions of RBI, Banking Regulation Act, 25% of current year's profit should be transferred to a reserve called statutory reserve by every bank. एक साल का करंट ईयर का जो भी प्रॉफिट रहेगा उसका 25% प्रॉफिट should be transferred to statutory reserve, right? Every year. And this statutory reserve can be minimized or stopped only with the permission of the RBI. And this statutory reserve will be revised from time to time by the RBI. Now, what is the treatments for statutory reserve? First of all, statutory reserve will be taken under appropriations in profit and loss account. Profit and loss account में fourth part appropriations का है. Appropriations में पहला item transfer to statutory reserve, 25% of current year's profit. First. Secondly, this statutory reserve will be added to the opening statutory reserve in balance sheet under reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus जो schedule number 2 है, तो schedule number 2 में ये reserve statutory reserve current year का और पहले का statutory दोनों को add कर देंगे. This is the adjustment. Then provision for doubtful debts. See here, provision for doubtful debts should not be disclosed in the फाइनल अकाउंट्स. प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट बैलेंस शीट में बताते नहीं. तो प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स विल बी टेकन अंडर प्रोविजंस एंड कंटिंजेंसीज इन वर्किंग नोट्स. वर्किंग नोट्स में प्रोविजंस एंड कंटिंजेंसीज में प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स लेंगे. फिर अगेन प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स विल बी डिडक्टेड इन वर्किंग नोट्स फ्रॉम लोन्स, एडवांसेस एंड कैश क्रेडिट्स. लोन्स, कैश क्रेडिट्स एंड ओवरड्राफ्ट्स. ये लोन्स, कैश क्रेडिट, ओवरड्राफ्ट को वर्किंग नोट में लेंगे, उसमें से प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स डिडक्ट कर देंगे. डिडक्ट करने के बाद नेट अमाउंट को बताएंगे शेड्यूल नंबर 9 एडवांसेस. शेड्यूल नंबर 9 एडवांसेस. दिस इज अबाउट प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स. प्रोविजन फॉर टैक्सेशन. अगेन प्रोविजन फॉर टैक्सेशन विल नॉट बी शोन in the final accounts. Well, what it will be done? The provision for taxation will be taken under provisions and contingencies in working note. तो वर्किंग नोट में प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट्स, प्रोविजन फॉर टैक्सेशन, ये दोनों को भी वर्किंग नोट में ऐड कर देंगे. जब टोटल आ जाएगा वो टोटल को प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट में प्रोविजंस एंड कंटिजेंसीज. One treatment. Second treatment, the provision for taxation will be taken in schedule number 5. Other liabilities and provisions. Other liabilities and provisions. उसमें एक item रहेगा others including provisions. In that we'll take. Rebate on bills discounted. Rebate on bills discounted is also called unexpired discount or discount received in advance. Discount received in advance. At the time of closing the accounts, the business earned some discount, but that discount does not belong to the complete for this period. Example, on 31st March we are closing the accounts. On 1st March a bill was discounted. The total discounting charges on that bill is 20,000. So 20,000 discount we have received on 1st March, but the duration of the bill is 3 months. Duration of the bill is 3 months. So out of 3 months, 1 month is falling in the current year and 2 months are falling in the next year. The bank has received 3 months discount, but out of 3 months, 1 month only is for the current year. 2 month discount will go to the next year. So the 2 months discount which we have received in advance during the current year itself is called rebate on bills discounted. So how to adjust the rebate on bills discounted? This rebate on bills discounted will be deducted from interest and discount in schedule number 13. Schedule number 13, interest and discount में से subtract करेंगे rebate on bills discounted. Again this rebate on bills discounted will be shown in schedule number 5. Other liabilities and provisions in the balance sheet. In the balance sheet. So other liabilities and provisions में एक item रहेगा others including provisions. In that we'll take rebate on bills discounted. Last and final item is income recognition. Income recognition. So banks will classify the advances into 2 categories: performing assets and non-performing assets. The non-performing assets are those assets on which income is not received for a certain period. यानी कुछ लोन्स ऐसा दिए हैं वो लोन के ऊपर रेगुलरली इंटरेस्ट नहीं आ रहा, लास्ट 2 years से इंटरेस्ट नहीं आ रहा, एग्जांपल लास्ट 3 years से इंटरेस्ट नहीं आ रहा. This is called non-performing asset. Banker has given the loan but income is not received for a certain period. It is called non-performing. So RBI has given detailed guidelines how to classify the assets into non-performing and performing asset. Right? Now the income on performing asset should be recognized on accrual basis. जो performing asset है उसके ऊपर जो income interest आ रहा वो इंटरेस्ट को accrual basis के ऊपर recognize करना. Accrual का मतलब क्या है? Received as well as not received both will take. For example, एक लोन है, performing asset लोन है, वो लोन के ऊपर suppose 10,000 rupees इंटरेस्ट आ गया और 10,000 rupees इंटरेस्ट आउटस्टैंडिंग है, तो we take both. Actual interest received 10,000, accrued interest 10,000, 20,000 interest we recognize. जो इंटरेस्ट आ गया और जो इंटरेस्ट आउटस्टैंडिंग है दोनों इंटरेस्ट को मिलाएंगे बिकॉज द एसेट इज ए परफॉर्मिंग एसेट. सपोज इफ इट इज ए नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट, अगर वो एसेट नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट है तो इनकम विल बी रिकॉग्नाइज्ड ओनली ऑन कैश बेसिस, नॉट ऑन अक्रूवल बेसिस. जितना कैश आया बस उसी को रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे, जो अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट है उसको रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करेंगे बिकॉज इट्स ए नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट. So this is all about income recognition. So in this video I have explained you the different terms which are used in the final accounts. So if you have watched this video then definitely you don't find much difficulty while solving the problem. The problems are completely based on these 2 videos. First video I have given the complete explanation of all the format of balance sheet and profit and loss account. In this second video I have explained you about the terms which are used in the final accounts. Hope you understood my lecture. So keep watching. So next video I am going to take up the problems on banking accounts of banking companies, preparing the profit and loss account and balance sheet. So if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe my channel, like it, share it, so that more and more students can be able to get the benefit from these lectures. They can be able to write the examination confidently and also increase their knowledge while facing the interview, and also they can be able to face the world if you have the knowledge how the accounts of banking companies will be made. See you then in the next video in problems.